How about now? How about now? Can you hear me now? Oh, I did not realize that. Can you hear me now, Matt?
There he is.
Let's go. Let's start again. Yeah, I was using the microphone, so I had the headset microphone attached, but I recently bought a brand new microphone that, for some reason, StreamYard
That is beautiful.
Default usually does. But anyways, if you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, come to the right place. We go live basically every single day. I shared the StreamYard link into all of the places. So if you want to join us and talk a little bit of AFC football, AFC playoffs, as we try to predict who's going to be to make the team in the AFC. I've been David Huffman, your host. Right there is Mr. Matthew James, who was kind enough to join us on break while he's at work. Matt, what's up, buddy? How are you, man?
Doing well. Another Tuesday night here at work, as you said. So No complaints. Honestly, things are going smooth here, and I'm glad to be able to join the show for a little while here.
Yeah, and we appreciate having you. So every year there's like 5 new teams that make the playoffs. So we're gonna try to predict before the season starts which of the teams are going to be representing the AFC in the playoffs. We're going to start with the AFC today, and I think we're going to do the NFC next week. As you may or may not know, we got through all 32 teams when it comes to our NFL season preview special episodes. We did the Rams yesterday, so if you missed any of the episodes that we did an episode for every single team. And then once we're done predicting the AFC teams that are going to make the playoffs this season, we are going to jump into a segment that we are bringing over from the crossover, which is something, nothing, or everything. There is some news going around in the National Football League that I think is interesting, and we're going to talk about a lot of it. But first, let's talk about the playoffs. Kind of those shocking teams last year that made the playoffs. The Raiders. They fired John Gruden halfway through the season, but they ended up making the playoffs. Nobody thought the Cincinnati Bengals were ready to be a playoff team, and the Titans being the number 1 seed in the AFC. I think if you had a crystal ball, nobody could have predicted that they were going to be the number 1 team in the AFC. So here's how things shook out last year. The AFC North was won by the Cincinnati Bengals, who went to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. The AFC West was won by the Kansas City Chiefs. The AFC East was won by the Buffalo Bills, and the AFC South was won by the Titans. The wild card teams with the Pittsburgh Steelers on Big Ben's last arm, basically. The Patriots with Mac Jones as the rookie quarterback, and then the Raiders, with Derek Carr kind of stepping up and leading this team to the playoffs. Of those teams, before we get into this year's prediction, what was the most surprising team last year for you in the AFC?
I mean, obviously, we're going to have to say the Bengals here, especially for how well they did in the playoffs, taking down the Titans on the road. And the Titans were one of my favorites to make the Super Bowl last year overall. Especially for the fact that they came just a few minutes short of winning the Super Bowl too.
They're a one Aaron Donald.
LA, so
they're a one Aaron Donald block away from winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
like if they block Aaron Donald, they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the way things the way they turned everything around so quickly through the draft, especially, is amazing. I mean, this is what a lot of teams should focus on, and they did it to near perfection. So, and they're a team to be reckoned with again this year. It's going to be tough. I mean, as we're going to go through tonight, it's going to be very tough. to get to the Super Bowl.
I think for me, the most shocking team on this list is the Steelers. I mean, all of those wild card teams, really, if you really think about it, I didn't expect any of those teams to be playoff teams. The New England Patriots, they have the rookie quarterback, starting out fresh. Tom Brady's no longer there. And then you got the Steelers, who were like, Big Ben was on his last arm and like kind of seemed like his season was going to be over. And then the Raiders, you fire John Gruden halfway through the season. You don't expect that team to recover and make the playoffs. All of those wild card teams are pretty shocking that they were able to rise up and make the playoffs. But yeah, so that chapter of last season is over. So let's talk about this season. Let's talk about the AFC North. Who do you got winning the AFC North? We'll just go division by division, and then we'll pick our wild card team. So let's talk about the AFC North. Who do you have coming out of the AFC North this season?
I'm going to take the Bengals again. They're bring back most of their personnel. They're going to be another strong squad, another year. Joe Burrow and Chase going with it. So give me the Bengals to take the North. And I'm going to have them take it by probably a couple games. Fairly comfortable with the fact that Pittsburgh's still trying to get their quarterback situation going again. And who knows what Baltimore and Cleveland are going to be doing this year. So
I totally agree with you on that. I think Cincinnati is the clear-cut favorite in the AFC North. There are just too many question marks surrounding every team. Besides, I have less question marks about the Ravens, but like everybody else, I mean, Cleveland, we don't really know what Deshaun Watson suspension. I'm hearing. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a year, based on what Roger Goodell talked about today. We're going to talk about that a little bit more when we get to something, nothing, or everything. The Steelers, the quarterback situation is all sorts of in flux. The last rumor is that Mason Rudolph is the headliner to win that starting quarterback job. So I'll be awfully surprised if that ends up happening. Also, now joining us on the show is Mr. Israel Rivera, joining us on the show. What's up, CEO of Prime Sports World? How are you, buddy? That's what's up. So yeah, we're talking about the AFC North. Who do you got coming out of the AFC North as the playoff team representing the AFC North to win their division?
To win their division in the AFC North, I'm actually going to go with the repeat of the Bengals here. I think they have more. They have more of offensive attack. And then defensively, they've gotten better as well. Baltimore's probably second. Second in line. And then you got the Cleveland Browns. We don't know if that suspension for 6 games is going to hold up. It might be a year. So if he's suspended for a year, then Cleveland's definitely out the running to win the AFC North. When you have the Baltimore Ravens have on the offensive end, you only have Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. I'm kind of concerned about that. Then the defense is pretty. I was kind of banged up. Some question marks there. So give me the Bengals to repeat.
Yeah, moving on from the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC North, let's swing into the AFC West. Who do you guys, last year, the Kansas City Chiefs obviously won the AFC West. Who do you have winning the AFC West this year?
I'm going to go with the Chargers taking it this year. The Chiefs losing Tyreek Hill is going to be big for them. The Chargers adding Khalil Mack to go with Bosa is going to be very, very dangerous on those quarterbacks in the West. The Chargers, I think we're a strong squad last year, just had some unfortunate breaks for them. But I think they break through this year, win the West, and be a team to be reckoned with again, along with the Bengals to push Buffalo and Tennessee for the Super Bowl.
Couldn't agree with you more, man. I got the Chargers being the number 2 seed in the AFC this season. I love the moves they made in the offseason, adding J.C. Jackson to an already good defense, adding Khalil Mack, adding that to the Joey Bosa, Derwin James, who's looked awesome in training camp. If he can stay healthy, that's an awesome defense. That should be with an offense that should all be getting better. Justin Herbert is probably the best young quarterback in the league. I don't know. Josh Allen, I don't know if he's considered still a young quarterback, but Justin Herbert, the sky is the limit for this kid. The Chargers are going to win the AFC West. Izzy. Well, he can jump back in. Let's go to the AFC East. And who do you got winning the AFC East? I'll go first. I'm going to have the Buffalo Bills repeating in the AFC East. They're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. if you watched the season preview show that we did about the Buffalo Bills, I only had them with one loss. The first game of the season where I think they get beat by the Rams, I think they sweep the rest of the schedule. That's how good I think they're going to be next season. Josh Allen's going to be the MVP. Bills, playoff team, win the AFC.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have them winning the East and being the top seed in the AFC. I have them losing probably maybe 2, maybe 3 games. I do have them beating the Rams first game, though.
Okay.
Being their celebration type of deal. And I know they're going to be pumped up to play, but Buffalo's also one of those teams that wants to prove that they are the best team this year out of the gate. So
I don't hate it.
Watch out for Miami to be a dark horse wild card team in there too.
We'll talk about the wild card team here in a few minutes. Izzy, before we move on to the AFC South, let me get your predictions in the East and in the West.
AFC East, Buffalo Bills, hands down. AFC West, I'm gonna go with the San Diego, LA Chargers. Sorry about that. LA Chargers. Give me a second, guys. Hold on.
It's all good. It's all good. Moving from let's move into the AFC South. The AFC South was last season won by the Tennessee Titans. They were the overall number 1 seed in the entire AFC. Who do you have coming out of that team, out of the AFC this season, as the winner of the AFC winner?
You there is?
Matt, you
I'll
go
go
first.
with this. Give me the Titans again. They're going to be, say, the 3rd seed in the AFC this year. They'll drop back a little bit just because AFC is getting stronger as we see it. So, but I still have them winning the South and being another strong playoff contender.
I have very real concerns about the Tennessee Titans for this season. They basically had their wide receiving core is completely depleted from last season. Julio Jones is no longer there. AJ Brown is no longer there. The corner, the safety, defense is all kind of a mess. I do not have them winning the AFC South, and I do not think they're a playoff team. We're going to talk about them when we get to the wild card. I just think it's going to be so difficult to make the playoffs in the AFC that if the Titans don't get rolling on offense right away, and I think there could be some growing pains with this offense for sure. I don't have them being a playoff team this season. I have the Colts winning the AFC South. I love their defense. I love the Matt Ryan addition. I think he's an upgrade over Carson Wentz. Give me the Colts to win the AFC South. Izzy.
Dang, you said he was an upgrade over Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz had a good year last year. I mean,
he did, but he's still Matt Ryan.
But I always say this.
Matt Ryan's a future Hall of Famer.
He is a future Hall of Famer. But I do say this about Carson Wentz. When it came down to make big throws, he just didn't make them. Like the big plays that they needed down the stretch in the season, he just didn't make them. So yeah, hopefully Matt Ryan does. 3rd quarterback in the last 3-4 years, right? Since Andrew Luck left.
Yeah, they started a different quarterback each of the last 4 seasons.
I am going with the AFC South. This is hands down the easiest division to win in football right here. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I do actually. I think the AFC. I think the AFC East will be pretty easy for Buffalo.
The AFC East is going to be super easy, but you got Miami's better than the second best team that's going to be in the AFC South, which is the Tennessee Titans.
I agree with you actually on that. Yeah. So, are you taking the Colts?
Oh yeah, I'm taking the Colts.
All right, so every year we get 3 wild card teams, the teams that didn't win their division, but they still get to be a playoff team. They have to go on the road and basically sweep to the road. Wild card teams last year were the Steelers, Patriots, and Raiders. Matthew James, who do you have as your 3 wild card teams for this year?
I'm going to go Raiders again coming out. Chiefs being the 3rd place team in the AFC West this year, actually. I have the Raiders being 2nd. With that addition of Devonta Adams is huge for them. And give me the Miami Dolphins to take that last wild card spot.
I don't necessarily hate that. I just a little head scratching that you have the Raiders over the Chiefs, but whatever. Each their own. This is your prediction. That's how it works.
I am actually
make up a little prediction here.
I am actually gonna go. I don't know if this is going to be a first in NFL history, but I'm actually going to go with the whole AFC West is going to make the playoffs. I don't know if this is NFL history, David. It might be, but I got the Denver Broncos, the Vegas Raiders, and the Kansas City Chiefs being my 3 wild card teams this season.
I
Okay,
could
I
honestly
mean
see that
that's also
too.
that's very very interesting. I do not agree with that at all. I think there's going to be 2 teams that go to the playoffs out of the AFC West. It's going to be the Chargers who win the division, and then it's the Kansas City Chiefs who go in as a wild card. They would probably be the number 1 wild card team. That's just the way things shape out. And then I have the Ravens making the playoffs over in the AFC North. I still think Lamar Jackson's an elite football player. I think this defense still will be good. I expect them to run the ball. I think the Ravens have a good chance to make the playoffs, especially if Cleveland, if they don't get this quarterback situation, if this quarterback situation blows up in their face, like we're talking about, the Steelers being kind of bad in this division and the Browns being kind of bad. That's 4 free wins for the Bengals and the Ravens the next season. And then I have the Miami Dolphins as my final playoff team. Adding Tyreek Hill, the upgrades that they've made at the offensive line position, the upgrades they've made at the running back room, adding a Chase Edmonds, adding Raheem Mostert, adding Tyreek Hill, to already Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki. I actually think Miami is going to be I don't think they're going to compete really for the AFC East, but I think they're for sure a wild card team. I do not have the Titans making the playoffs. I do not have the Raiders making the playoffs. And I sure shit don't have the Broncos making the playoffs.
I'm not betting against Russell Wilson right now. I'm not betting against Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is still one of the great quarterbacks in the league. I think he's gonna elevate that team to newer heights next season. So, but I do think it's gonna be close though. I do think it's gonna come down to the wire. I mean, I think Miami and Baltimore are gonna be right there. I do think so.
Yeah, I could see a scenario where the Raiders are a 10-win team and miss the playoffs. I think Denver could be a 10-win team and miss the playoffs. I think if you don't have 11 to 12 wins in the AFC, you're not going to make the playoffs.
Let's put the brakes on Miami because Tua needs to show that he play his games.
I know, I know, but this is why it's a prediction.
I know.
This is why it's a prediction, and me and Matt agree. I like what I've seen. I like the additions that Miami made this season.
Me too.
It should make them a playoff team. And Mike McDaniels has said and done the right things as the coach of that team now. No argument there. We'll see what ends up because he's never called plays before in the National Football League, so we'll see what that ends up looking like. But I mean, this is also going to be a defense I think was pretty underrated last season. They have arguably the best combo of corners in the NFL.
Yeah. No, I agree. They're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough team. They can stumble out like they did last year and try and play catch up. But yeah, no. Tua.
I mean, yeah. Your point is if they don't come out of the gates kind of winning, we're already hitting on all cylinders, they could stumble out of the gates here and miss the playoffs because 12 wins is what you need to get to if you want to be a playoff team in the AFC this season. Let me know down in the comment section who you think is going to make the playoffs in the AFC. For some reason, David Henderson, I know you're commenting on the Prime Sports World Facebook page, but for some reason, I cannot see your comments on StreamYard. I don't know if there's some sort of disconnect between StreamYard and this, but for some reason, I cannot see David Henderson's comments on my StreamYard portal. I don't know if it's different on your end, Izzy. But yeah, I can't see David. I know he's commenting. I know he's watching, but I cannot see his comments.
Either. I can't. Podcast.
Thank you very much, David Henderson, for continuing to check us out. Hopefully that gets relieved, before the end of the show, and we can actually post some comments because you're posting some good stuff as always. Very astute over there. He said Tua is still their quarterback, so it doesn't really mean in Miami. His predictions for the wild card teams were the Ravens, Patriots, and Raiders, and then they have the Colts winning the AFC South. Just like me and Izzy do.
He's a guy. He's a guy. He says, "Don't bet on Brady and don't bet against Brady and don't bet against Bill Belichick." That's it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's move on to so this is a segment that I pulled from our crossover episodes. It's something nothing or everything. There was a bunch of stuff that happened in the NFL between today and yesterday. Just kind of wanted to break down a bunch of these things. And what do you think if there's something nothing or everything? And since Matt James is still on the show, let's start with the Bears one first, because I know he's got to bounce out soon. Roquan Smith is a trade from the Chicago Bears. He says he does not feel valued by the Chicago Bears. He's arguably the best player on the whole team right now. What is this? Something, nothing, or everything? I'll let Matt go first.
All right, this will be my last thing. I got to take off after this. Good thing you brought this up right away.
Yeah.
I'd say probably, honestly, everything. As you said, he is their best player. I mean, you can make him that cornerstone linebacker in this system, especially the 4-3 that looks like they're bringing back. Pay the man. I mean, he's done everything for you. He's held the defense as up as possible. It's hard to say because they've been pretty awful lately. I mean, without him, who knows how horrible they would be compared to, them with him. I mean, honestly, if he wants out and into a better situation, good for him. Go for it. He deserves the money. And I mean, there's not much else to say with it.
Well, thank you very much, man. Yeah, I agree with you. This is definitely something we will jump back to this topic here a little bit later. Thank you very much for joining the show, man. And have a good rest of your day, man. I'll talk to you later. Joining another show is Mr. Eric Avila, the host of the JCA podcast. Welcome into the show, man. Let's backtrack just here a second because all of us kind of predicted our playoff teams in the AFC. You did not get an opportunity to do that. Who do you think are going to be the teams that represent the AFC in the playoffs? And then we can go back to something, nothing, everything. By the way, introduce yourself. Tell a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Yeah, Eric Avila here, one of the third of the JCA Sports podcast. Basically, you can find us everywhere on anything in JCA Sports and on our social media and then John Konavi, JONCONAVI on Facebook. So,
okay.
And so
go ahead. Yeah, playoff teams in the AFC. Predicting who's the 7 teams that are going to make the playoffs in the AFC. I have Bengals, Chargers, Bills, Colts, and then I have the Dolphins, Ravens, and Chiefs as my wild card teams. Izzy had Bengals, Chargers, Bills, Colts, and then he had the Raiders, Broncos,
the
AFC. Making it as the wild card.
Yes, baby.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with that one. I think the whole entire AFC West will make the playoffs this year. If there's one sleeper team that I think they'll probably make it, it would probably be the Dolphins. But I don't know how much Tua Tagovailoa we're gonna have trust to. So that I'd rather go on the safe side with the proven quarterback and Russell Wilson in a division to where, let's be honest, everybody's going to beat up themselves in that division anyways in the AFC West. So just for the safe, I'm just going to go everybody from the AFC West is going to make it. The Titans are not going to win the AFC South. I think that's going to be the Colts. I think the little upgrade in quarterback and Matty Ice will probably do justice. As for the East, it's the Bills until further notice, but even with the Dolphins trying to be that sneaky wild card, I don't think they're good enough to beat the Dolphins and overtake that division.
Bills winning 15 games this year, almost
16 games. 16. The only game they lose is the game against the Rams.
Wow, damn, man, golly, man, you guys got the Rams like. What did you guys have the Rams? What was the record for the Rams yesterday?
I had them like 14-3, something like that.
I think I have somewhere right there. 13 wins, 14 wins.
Or 13-4, something like that. Their schedule is pretty easy.
Their schedule is easy, and then their division's not that.
They have all their tough games at home, so AFC North, and then the AFC West, and then
the AFC North, the Bengals. It's the Bengals. I think they're probably like the most complete team. The Ravens don't have a wide receiver outside of Mark Andrews, and that's a tight end. The Steelers don't have a quarterback, and the Browns is just the Browns could probably make a little bit of noise with Deshaun Watson coming back, but I highly doubt it. By then, it'll probably be too late. So just the safe pick right there is the Bengals.
AFC West. Who do you have winning the division? I know you said that.
Me personally, I think the Chargers have a shot. The Chargers are probably the most complete team in that division. To the Chiefs, we don't know what the Chiefs are going to be without Tyreek Hill. We're probably going to see finally Patrick Mahomes be more of an all-around quarterback without Tyreek, because I feel like even though he'll just chuck up the ball, Tyreek will somehow, somewhere be there at that point. It's that and the defense. I don't know. The defense kind of worries me a little bit. They weren't all that great last year. They weren't all that good.
Yeah.
Still
And
making
they
Eric,
lost pieces and
Eric,
people-
Eric,
Hey.
just remember, no Melvin Ingram, no Travarius Ward, no
Yeah,
Tyrann Matthew
yeah.
on that
that's what I'm
that
saying. Like the
defense no
defense kind
more.
of just
So
Defense is going to be lukewarm next
I
year.
agree. I
it
agree.
is.
I
It
think
is.
the Chargers.
And
I
just
agree
look,
with you. I think the Chargers are winning that division. So let's
I
get
got the
back into
Chargers,
something,
yeah.
nothing, everything. Let's backtrack before we go back to something, nothing, everything. This is an episode, an idea that I pulled from the crossover because I have a bunch of things that I want to talk about when it going on in the NFL. First of all, Roquan Smith. Matt already weighed into it. Is it something, nothing? Apparently, he wants to be traded. Doesn't feel valued by this new regime. I think this is for sure something. Usually, where there's smoke, where there's fire, they should pay this guy.
I'm gonna be on the same agreement with you, David. It is definitely something. It's not everything because the Bears didn't have any type of playoff hopes. It would be everything if the Bears were a playoff team.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yes,
I like that. That rationale is nice. I don't hate it.
Would be everything if they were a playoff team, if they were contending for the playoffs, but they're not contending.
Hey, man, if you ask Chucky
So their most tradable asset is Roquan Smith. So go ahead and trade Roquan Smith. Go get him for some draft picks and call it a day. There you go. It's something.
Eric.
You know what, man? You guys say it's something. I think it's everything. Let's be honest. This is like the pillar of the defense. I think without Roquan Smith's defense, although it's not all that great,
It'll be the worst. It's already probably the worst defense in the league. It'll be for sure.
Right. It's not all that great. Now you take him out of the picture, it's not good at all. You know, it's a guy he's not just any regular old player. He's literally the cornerstone and the pillar of this team. Not only that, he's only 25 years old. So you have 5, 6, 7, 8 years of him playing football, good football left in your team. And this is, I guess this is the way it goes. No, and at the same time, though, Roquan's at fault at this because he doesn't have an agent, and the money he's asking for, even though he's the whole pillar of this whole entire defense, that money's kind of outrageous.
We'll see. Next one. Mekhi Becton played one game last season, and before the season even starts this year, his season is over with a knee injury. I think he broke his kneecap, chip fracture in his right kneecap. His season will be over. It will be require surgery. He will see an excellent, outside medical opinions. It's his second surgery in 11 months on the same knee. Something, nothing, everything.
Oh, this is a little something. This is a guy who, for somehow, some way, he can't stay in injury. Look, after you get one surgery, it's going to be a while for you to build it back. But the moment if you have back-to-back surgeries in this type, or back-to-back injuries of this severity, something's wrong with the body, and the body's not responding the way it is. So this could probably be career-ending.
This is definitely something. Just because of the magnitude of how high they picked him, right? The fact that they had high hopes for him in the future for that offensive line in New York, and you have a franchise quarterback back there, right? In which you had high hopes for in this offensive lineman to protect him, and now he's not there anymore. He's not there this year, and he had 2 season-ending injuries. This is definitely something. Godspeed to Mekhi Becton. I hope he comes back healthy. But we know in history, this is not good for any football player.
This is everything. They took this guy with the 11th overall pick 2 years ago. So when Zach Wilson threw his first career touchdown in the National Football League, it's the same play that Mekhi Becton got injured on the first time. So if you ever wanted to watch Zach Wilson's first ever touchdown, let's say he goes to the Hall of Fame and they want to show his first ever career touchdown, it's always going to be marred by that crazy injury to Mekhi Becton on that play. They can try to crop it out however they want, but it is a nasty looking injury. And this is a guy you had high hopes for him. You have George Font on the other side. You bring in Laken Tomlinson, you bring in Connor McGovern, you draft Elijah Vera Tucker last season.
Yep.
This is an offensive line that you thought might be good enough to compete, to give Zach Wilson a real shot at being, semi-productive. And now he's off the table. This is everything for the New York Jets. It's another example of them drafting a guy and it's just not working out. It's unfortunate he got injured. But yeah, this is everything.
Yep. And for offensive linemen with all that weight, they use a lot of that core. They use a lot of that knees, bending of the knees, really shifting weight. This is really something that I'm very concerned for his career. I don't think he can. I hope he bounces back, but I don't. History says he won't.
Yeah, we'll see. So an interesting comment by Sean McVay. So he says that he announced he signed an extension with the team during the offseason, but the GM of the team says the deal is still in the works. Do you think this is just maybe Sean McVay getting overly excited, or like what do you think this is? Like, do you think this is nothing? Everything, something.
Jeff, at the moment, nothing. I think it's
this is what happened.
Yeah.
So Sean McVay said on Tuesday that he signed a contract extension in the offseason, but the team wanted to wait until Les Snead, the GM of this team, also signed his extension, which has not happened yet. So Sean McVay kind of jumped the gun a little bit, maybe to put pressure on the team to get this extension done. So something, nothing, or everything.
Definitely nothing. I think that he's just overly excited now. Yeah, after you explain it, yeah, definitely nothing. I think these guys are toe to toe, neck and neck, or everything moves that they need to make. If they're going to extend Sean McVay, I think he just got overly excited on his contract that I guess he received first before the GM.
Also agree. Nothing. Literally nothing.
This is literally nothing. This isn't even a blip on the radar. If anything, no.
I misread the headline when I first thought this would be something worthwhile, and yeah, for sure. Next one, we got two more. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says evidence calls for at least a full year suspension for Cleveland Browns Deshaun Watson. It is important to note that Roger Goodell is not hearing the appeal. The appeal is being heard by a former New Jersey Attorney General, Peter Harvey. He's the one that's going to heal for Watson's suspension. But Roger Goodell has weighed in, and this is kind of the NFL's stance since the beginning, that he should be suspended for the entire year. Something, nothing, everything.
Oh, this is a little something. Oh, this is a little something. No, this is little. No, I got a little something. Look, the NFL. Everybody got once again got a bad rave that Deshaun only got 6 games. 6 games, and everybody thought, well, Calvin Ridley got 16 for gambling. This guy touched over 30 women or over 25 women, and he only got suspended for 6 games. So they want the suspension to be a lot more harder, a lot more harsher, the fine a little bit more. And the only reason why the NFLPA, the court allegations, all that, like they'll go through it just for this one to be right, for him to be suspended for 2 seasons instead of a season and a half.
This is everything. I mean, the NFL is doing some damage control here, for sure. They're basically, so what the NFL has really been doing with this whole situation is they're washing their hands of it. So they're like, we didn't make these decisions. We're not the ones who made all these calls. Like we're not, like the Robinson, the first judge who made the decision to only suspend. That was her decision. It had nothing to do with us. Mm-hmm. And now they've taken the appeal decision out of their hands too. So this is for sure. Like Roger Goodell can say whatever he wants, but he has no say in what the appeal ends up being. This is the NFL doing 100% damage control. This is everything.
Yeah, no, David's right. This is definitely everything. The NFL does this quite often. They get into a controversial situation, and then they say, you know what? Hey, it's them over there. Those guys over there.
Yeah.
Those decisions, not us. We want him to be gone for a year, even though we really don't care. That's the way I think. Honestly, I think the NFL, they know that women's groups and fans are like, hell no, this guy should be out of the league. He shouldn't be there for a year. He should be suspended. And the NFL's like, yeah, I agree with those guys. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do everything. So
all of this could have been avoided if the suspensions are right from the first time, where he was the owner of, or he was the guy suspending the people. Let's go back to the Ray Rice situation.
I
mean, there's been a myriad of situations where domestic violence happening, and Kareem Hunt, and the NFL just kind of punting on it. I got the final
one is a little different from a little, everything. I don't want to speak on that, but whatever.
Moving on to the final one. Actually, we're gonna do one more after this. New Orleans quarterback Jameis Winston has a new injury. He has suffered a right foot sprain during a 7-on-7 drill on Monday's practice, and he is now considered day-to-day and will not play in Saturday's preseason opener against the Houston Texans. It was more than likely that he was not going to play in that game anyways. I imagine they're just going to keep him out of the preseason until the start of the regular season. But now that Jameis Winston is starting to deal with another nagging injury, this is kind of the stuff that happens when you have an ACL tear. As people who know, we're Chicago fans, we know what happened to Derrick Rose. When you have an ACL tear, it's often likely that you're going to have some other injury when you try to come back. You try to ramp up your production, you try to ramp up your productivity, you always tweak something on the way. Jameis Winston injured again. This seems relatively minor, but
This is
Go ahead.
I was gonna say this is something because I don't want to say it's everything. This is something because if he does have to deal with this, I mean they're pretty much, they don't really have a backup plan at quarterback, and they're really banking on him and to really be the catalyst, be the leader of that offense, to really drive that offense. I mean, they saw the little small sample size that he did early in the season last year, and it was really good, right? But this defense is good enough. This is going to be another year of a wasted defense if Jameis Winston can't get out there and play, at least 14, 15 ball games, right? You want him to at least play 14, 15. If he misses 2 or 3, yeah, fine. But not like, a good portion of the season. So this is definitely something I'm definitely going to be looking out for this, because those little small injuries could turn into big ones. So
definitely something.
Definitely
something for sure. For all the reasons that I mentioned in the intro. When
he's a big dude. Remember, he's a big dude that he likes to move around a lot. So an injury like that after an ACL tear, it could do a little bit more wear and tear to every other part of your body. So this is something that could possibly be everything, a little further down in the future.
Last one. New England Patriots quarterback Mac Jones acknowledges, this report came out today, acknowledges that the team is struggling a little bit as the team transitions to a new offense. Josh McDaniels is no longer part of this team. Do you think this is something other than everything, or the fact that he acknowledges that there's been a bit of a struggle with this team transitioning to a new offense, and the whole thing about the Patriots not assigning offensive defensive coordinators, all of that kabacle, something, nothing, everything. Mac Jones acknowledging some struggles with the transition.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, Eric.
I said this is everything. To be honest with you, this is the quarterback who's saying all this stuff, who's putting it out into light that they're struggling to at least just to be on the same page with whatever offensive plays that they're running. And if he's seeing that right now, this is not looking good for the New England Patriots. Plus everything else that's right behind it. Yeah, this is everything. This is definitely everything.
This is, why it's a little bit of, why it's something, because they really haven't really come out and said, and I forgot, because I remember this, they really haven't come out and said who the offensive coordinator is. They got
Bill Belichick, they said that they're not going to. Bill Belichick has said they're not going to announce a new offensive coordinator. They're not going to announce a new defensive coordinator.
Yeah, now that's what's concerning to me, because you don't have a direction. So you got Joe Judge, you got Matt Patricia, you got Bill, and all know Bill is a defensive guy, right? So we're gonna have like what's this kind of a turnstile, like, okay, you take a turn and you take a turn and you take a turn calling plays, you take a turn taking plays. I don't like that. I don't like that at all, especially for a young quarterback in Mac Jones. Somebody that needs some stability, some direction in the second season. And also we all talked about it. They have a horrible wide receiver core as well.
They may have had the worst offseason in the NFL this year.
So
I know they traded for Devontae Parker, but that Shaq Mason trade made literally no sense whatsoever. Like a starting guard, you just trade him away for literally no reason whatsoever. I
don't get the fact that they haven't really, Bill hasn't really made a decision, or the Patriots haven't taken a direction and where their offense is going to go. You can't just have co-offensive coordinators. That just doesn't sound right.
This is one of those other situations where Bill Belichick has built up this cachet where he just gets this benefit of the doubt when he does things that are untraditional, right? Like when he reaches for players that are like Lenore Ryan, or he takes players that are day 3 players in the first round. It's it's just Bill Belichick being Bill Belichick. And this is one of the that cachet is starting to run out on Bill Belichick. This thing is I'm not going to announce the coordinator. Nah, Like, I'm going to be different. I'm Bill
We're
Belichick.
talking-
I'll figure it out. The cachet is wearing off for Bill Belichick. This is something. I don't think it's everything because I think that's a stretch for me. But this is for sure. This is something because it's the quarterback who's going to have to run this offense, saying that there is some struggle with the transition. That is definitely not a good sign. You do not want your starting quarterback saying stuff like that. In like training camp's only been going on for like 3 weeks. It's like, oh yeah, it's been a real struggle. Like it's been, yeah, it's for sure something. I'm not gonna say everything because I think the Patriots will find a way because it's Bill Belichick.
Yeah, they will.
But yeah, that's been something, nothing, everything. This is a staple of the crossover. It's one of my favorite segments on the crossover because it's just like you come up with these stories. Like I was gonna do just one Becton one, but then the Roquan Smith thing happened, and then I read the Roger Goodell thing. I'm like, I need to include all of these, and I don't want to make a slide for every single one because I was literally low on time. So, but yeah.
And you could have put in the Odell Beckham to wanting to go to Buffalo type of deal, but we'll save that for another segment.
Yeah, but yeah, that's been predicting the playoffs in the AFC presented by Prime Sports World. Tomorrow, me and Izzy are going to give you our final preseason fantasy football rankings, where we're going to be ranking quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight end, and defense. We do not rank kickers, if you're wondering. It's going to be
kickers are everything.
Oh, shut
up. unless you mispronounce Young Wei Koo's last name and you pick him for your fantasy team just because you like his name. That's it.
Yeah, or if you're Chris Berman, you want to butcher a name, right? Real bad. You go, however he pronounced Young Wei Koo.
Yeah.
If you remember. Yeah, you remember that video was fun. But yeah, we're gonna be doing that tomorrow, preseason, and then Thursday, we're gonna be talking about who's gonna be winning some hardware in the NFL, predicting some Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, MVP, all that good stuff. I've been David Huffman right there as Mr. CEO of Prime Sports Rivera and of the JCA podcast, Mr. Eric Avila. By the way, I'm really disappointed that I'm not in your bracket thing for our fantasy league. I wanted to take your trophy, my friend. And another fun fact, Izzy, he's joining our Greatest People League this year. One of the people who was in the group is dropping out. This guy is going to be our new member of our fantasy team and the Greatest People.
Who won the league last year? Wasn't Andy again?
Yeah, man. I remember I bench stacked Prescott, and
he's the kryptonite to everybody, man. Yeah. Hey, watch out! Andy will make this playoffs by the skin of his chin. And then
win everything. I'm going to add you to the group chat. I'm going to add you to the league tonight. But yeah, we're really excited to have you in that league, and I looking forward to your fantasy league because I will send you all that stuff tonight. I promise. No,
it's all good. Same thing here. Yeah, it's going to be a little competitive. 3 teams, 3 divisions, 12 teams. Yeah, it was fun. Yesterday we did the picking of the divisions, like David just said. I'm sorry, Dave. You probably got the weakest division out there. I assume to say so. You're probably safe up there, getting probably number 1 or number 2. I'm just talking smack because that's Jose's division. But yeah, it's exciting. The draft is on Sunday, and where you can't wait. Again, our prize is a $100 gift card and a trophy that will be revealed on Sunday on our show.
Nice.
Real cool. But yeah, I've been David Huffman. Well, thank you very much for joining us here at the Prime. JCA, Eric, do you want to do a quick plug for your show you guys are doing tomorrow? You guys know what you're doing tomorrow?
No, we are off tomorrow because we're doing the special show on Sunday for the fantasy draft. So the next show we're going to be again is on Sunday. We're doing a live show as we're just picking the teams, boring, talking smack, talking sports throughout the whole entire time. It's at 7:30 on John Conavi Facebook page. Or you can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch at JCA Sports, along with all our social media platforms.
Very good. And gentlemen, also, please like, share, and subscribe to Prime Sports World on all of the places, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Gentlemen, what do we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen. We're bringing the heat, 24/7, baby.
I'll make sure to do that the next time. I'll remember. Yeah. I promise you guys. Don't forget, man. I promise you guys.
It's all good. It's all good.
And Izzy, don't forget to send me your rankings, man, so I can get working on that. I will see you guys all tomorrow, and you all have a very safe...
You guys don't miss the fantasy show.
Yeah.
Tuesday?
Wednesday.
That we will be coming and bringing that heat every Tuesday. So you guys better not miss it out, because you want to know something? When you guys miss out on our show, y'all fantasy teams be in last place, man. Y'all be missing out on the rankings. You be missing out on all the sleepers, everybody. So don't miss it. because y'all better be there or be square, man. That's all I gotta say.
100%. We will see you guys tomorrow. You all have a good night. Thank you very much for joining us, Eric. We appreciate having you, man.
Thanks, guys. No, thank you.
Peace out, bro.